to our neck of the woods in the Library of Graphic Literature, and we have another day of rain. Must be the 40 days and 40 nights. Has to be a biblical event of sorts. And welcome, Alice.
Hey, thank you very much, thank you. Actually, yeah, it has been apparently 30-something days straight, and looking for 10 more days to see if an arc floats by.
Possibly.
Which it may or may not float by, right?
I heard this is going on till the middle of January now.
No. and we're up north. Right?
But because we're on an island, no one cares about it. I don't hear anyone being like, oh, it's geoengineering.
Yeah.
They're sending the rain to Newfoundland.
Yeah, they're trying to drown those poor Newfoundlanders. Well, I'm sure it can't go astray.
I don't know what's worse, flat earth believers or people that believe that people can control hurricanes.
Flat earthers, I think. They're my favorite.
I'm convinced they're
Worst.
government plans. They're just plans to keep us all distracted and arguing.
Well, that's true too. That's true. I've always when you get these people going online saying, talking about, that's my whole thing with generations. This whole generation thing. Oh, you're a baby boomer, or you're this, you're that. It's just like, who gives a darn? When we were born, we all live at the same time, so we're contemporaries. Sound good?
I don't know.
I'm going for it.
I just think we're human beings.
Well, yeah, exactly. We're all here at the same time, though. This is it, right?
We're like, oh, the Earth's a sphere. It's flat. It's a sphere. It's an egg shaped. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's ovoid. And it's funny because ducks do figure into our thing here today. Now, also too, coming up I guess within a month's time will be our special top, and this year I guess top 24 books of 2021.
Tell them
2024, sorry. Yes, the top 24 books. I figure we'll do 24 books. See, now it's 2024, and I'm still doing up the list. I have a few ideas, a few ones for sure, including actually one of tonight's. I'm sure this one's going to make it. This is
Giant Size Superstars Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 5. Volume 5. Now this is number 5. Now see, this one's interesting. This is because in the early 70s when Jack Kirby left Marvel, swimming in misery, Stan Lee took over the Fantastic Four in turn. Well, he was doing the dialogue for Fantastic Four, let's be real. And when Kirby left, he hung around for about a year writing it. And it became painfully clear who the real genius behind the Fantastic Four was. And it wasn't Stan. Anyway, Stan eventually stood aside, and he let his second-in-command, Rascally Roy Thomas, as they call him, he took over, and he started writing. And Roy's not a bad writer. And they also had, who else here too? Oh yeah, Gerry Conway, another guy who took over. And Gerry Conway is also best known for the TV show. Well, no, that's not it. Law and Order. I think it's SVU. He did. He wrote for Law and Order and did some other shows. He moved on to Hollywood after comics, but he did some good, cool comics. And this was kind of neat because in this one, Sue Storm, Elizabeth, Invisible Woman, gets to be a little bit more assertive, and she basically, in the end, leaves Mr. Fantastic to go out on her own.
Strong, independent woman, is she?
Yeah, and she's more or less had enough of Reed just hanging around in the laboratory. I don't know what's the matter with Reed. Staying at home. Staying in the lab when he has the beautiful Sue Storm as his wife, and of course, like any person, when they're being ignored by their significant other, she had enough, and she took Franklin, the little baby, and beat a hasty retreat. But then also there is in this early episode there is there's a scene because Franklin is secretly super powered. They don't know it yet, and he has incredible powers, and there's one, I can't remember what it was he began, because I'm rereading it, actually first time I've reread a lot of these in years, but he ends up becoming a threat, because his mind starts open and his powers really starts to take off, and Reed shoots him with a ray that shuts down his mind and turns him into a little vegetable for a bit. And of course then Sue really flips out, and the Thing also leaves for a while, and so it's, it changes into like sort of a mixed bag of the Fantastic Four. There's Medusa returns. She ends up being sort of a part-time member of the Fantastic Four, and the Human Torch. He gets no, it doesn't show it here. Where is it? Right there. He puts on a red outfit for the first time in his life. There we go. He puts on a red outfit and he goes out there, being the Human Torch, torching it all up. And I'll get this in close there so people can see the cool red uniform, which sort of sets him apart then. And it sort of becomes a whole different time in the FF. Now eventually Sue does come back. Oh, there he is again. Sue does come back and joins back with them. Oh yeah, and there's the Nemo, the Submariner.
Okay.
He was in Wakanda, and he was the...
Oh, the one that came out of the ocean.
Yeah. But I did, could have been done better. As a matter of fact, I thought he was the only good thing in Wakanda, right?
I thought he kind of reminded me of like a Hindu god.
Yeah, he was pretty cool. And now this is, oh, there we go. There's Johnny in his Fantastic Four red outfit. And so that goes on for a while, but eventually Sue does come back. Oh, and a lot of this is drawn by, it starts out with this artist, John Buscema, is drawn a bit of it. And then eventually another artist named Rich Buckler, good old Rich, comes in. And Rich always was sort of one of my favorites. He'd been doing some work on the Avengers, and he created Deathlock, the Demolisher, one of my favorite new Marvel titles. And he did a bunch of other different stuff. And then he was eventually replaced by, I think it was George Perez in the end. Good old George. I actually got to meet Rich Buckler in New York. And very gruff character. But he, really nice guy. He was, definitely a bit of a, I don't know, like almost, not a J. Jonah Jameson, but he's sort of, maybe I caught him in a bad mood, but he was still very nice. He just, he didn't seem to be extra happy or whatever. Maybe he was having a bad day, but always was one of my favorite artists. So it was cool to meet him. Anyway.
Never meet your heroes, kids.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I feel every morning when I look in the mirror. Now next up is Walt Disney's
Donald Duck.
And this is, what is it? The
Frozen Gold.
Yeah, by Carl Barks. This is volume 2, I think it is. Hang on, it's like of course, let me see here. Yeah, this is volume 2. Now, all the rest of the books are out. There's 20-something volumes in it. But when they put it out, they started out at volume 6. They went right up to the end, and then they put out the first 5 after putting out all the rest. I think because they didn't think that the first 5 were the best Carl Barks comics. But I mean, I've been reading them, and they're they're not like the later ones, but they're still pretty good. But Carl Barks, he's known as the Duck Artist. Back then they didn't sign any of the comics and stuff like that, but everyone could recognize that when this guy draws the comics are really good. And later on in the 60s and all that, people began to realize who the good Duck Artist was, and he became famous in and of his own right. He did a lot of paintings later on in life of the characters and all that used to sell them. So if you managed to get a Carl Barks duck painting, I'd say they're probably worth a pretty penny now. But he created Gyro Gear Loose, for instance, and a lot of the minor characters that are actually part of the whole Disney mythos today, the whole duck world. He more or less created Duckburg. I do believe he also created Scrooge McDuck. So he created, he did some of the best duck stories and created some of the cooler characters. Now, like I say, when starting out here, it was so-so. It was okay, but they really became much better as they went along. And but so I recommend, even if you don't buy the earlier ones, although you should, because you should have the complete set of them. They're definitely worth it, right? I kind of like Carol Barks. So this volume 2, the last one, volume 1 now, will be out next year, and it'll end, I think, God, what was it, they were putting out 2 a year or something like that for the past 12 years or whatever. The long journey is finally over. Now, this is an interesting lesson in public domain. This is the return of Captain Nemo. Now, Nemo is one of these characters who's fallen into the public domain. There was another book, Mobilis, I think it was also about Nemo. There was another Nemo book just called Nemo. And then, of course, Captain Nemo appeared in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Some good pen art there.
Now, this one is interesting because it's kind of like a picture book. It's text but with big drawings. But it's kind of neat in a way. It's a whole different approach to it. I still like it. You should check out the Nemo book that came out a few years ago by, God, I can't remember the artist now, but it's actually in one of the older shows. If you look around, you'll see Nemo in one of the titles. And Mobilis there from a couple of years ago was also very cool. It was a really cool Nemo story. And the Nemo stories from Alan Moore after League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, he did a couple of books.
So is this him all grown up or something?
This is Nemo. I'm not sure. It's basically a story. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I think it's a story after whatever adventures take place in the. Is it 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? Under the sea, he first appears.
Oh, so not Dreamland Nemo.
No.
Oh.
No, this is Captain Nemo, not Little Nemo.
Ah. Oh,
Captain Nemo was a character. He was in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and he was like a pirate captain type of guy, right?
This is cool though.
But it's neat because
looks like a basilica.
Yeah, that's Notre Dame. So it's so like I say, it's a bit of a picture book, but I figure it still counts. Oh, and I love the inside front covers. It's more illustrations with the story going along there, which in my mind still marks it as graphic literature. Jazz hands. So it does count as graphic literature. It is pretty cool. And I mean, the illustrations are really well done. Mm-hmm. I do like them, right?
It's great rendering.
Yeah. In this day and age when so many people are afraid to pick up a pencil, come on. Look at this. Very, very cool. Oh yeah, I love that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, interesting. Oh, and this one is really cool. I like this. Well, yeah, it's. I'd seen pictures from the art book, and when I seen that, I was like, oh, this looks really cool. So I decided to get it anyway. So the Obscure City is the return of Captain Nemo. Definitely worth getting. Now we're going back.
Another one.
We're going back a few years.
It's an old one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is one that came out in, let's see here now, 2 years ago this came out. But I picked it up because I was falling behind on my Prince Valiants, and I only had a couple left. I was going to stop collecting them because there's a point at which Hal Foster stops drawing them. Now in this one he doesn't. They're drawn by this guy John Cullen Murphy, and I'm not sure. I mean, Hal Foster is listed in the credits and all that, so I'm not sure if he's still writing the stories. There's a point at which now, and it's coming up pretty quickly, in which he basically passes the reins over to John Cullen and Cullen Murphy themselves, and Hal retires. Hal Foster, the guy who drew this, Harold Foster, he was from Halifax, so in the province right next door to us here in Newfoundland, right next to us. Now this one, of course, the art is, but it's sort of, it's not quite as good as Hal Foster's is, but it's still not bad, right? And it was more or less a narrated strip. You didn't really see word balloons in this, so it was kind of an illustrated story almost. But the stories were kind of good, and the art, especially when Hal himself was doing it, was absolutely spectacular. He did some beautiful, beautiful drawings. And I'm not sure if it's still on the go now. I think it might be, oh God, I can't remember who's doing it now. But, I mean, it's one of the classic adventure strips of yore. Now this is from 1987 to 88. So it's getting close to the end, if not for Foster. And I think I might buy one more edition, and that's it for me. But they're worth it, because these were fairly cheap. This is like, okay, $40 US for, you know, a nice big book like this.
You call that cheap?
Well, relatively cheap compared to the graphic novels and to the omnibuses. It's cheap. Which are $100. So. And, you know, I thought, no, the earlier ones were cheaper too. I think they were more like $30 or whatever. They went up in price. But, you know, for beautiful, nice big comics like this too, I always liked big comic pages, right? That's why I liked, we should do a big comics, special big comics edition.
Your giant books, I thought we were going to do.
Yeah, yes, we are. And some of those I really like, because they are.
You have a lot.
They are huge, and they are big. They're big and beautiful.
They're the ones that don't fit on the shelves in the store.
Yeah. There's a bunch down there, and there's a bunch over there,
right there,
and right there. They're all over the place. Now, last but not least, is another blast from the past, and the main reason I got this, Louis Riel, is because Chester Brown was in town a few weekends ago with Sook-Yin Lee promoting the Payne Ford movie, and got to meet him, and even got him to sign my copy of Louis Riel, and he did a little Louis Riel drawing. But this book is also too is really worth buying, because it tells the history of and life of Louis Riel, who was a very famous. Actually, in some ways, he was. Some people consider him a father of Confederation, but he was eventually, like all good rebels, he was eventually hanged or executed, whatever, for what he did. I've actually seen his grave. I have been at Riel's grave.
Oh, really?
It's in Winnipeg, and all it says, it's a little gravestone. All it says is just Riel. So I mean, it's pretty famous when. You know, I guess it'd be like, say, if Madonna died, and they just had Madonna or Cher on the gravestone. That would be all you would need, right? Or Snoopy or whatever, right? But yeah, here's his trial at the end of it. And the cool thing, when he put it out, he actually had notes in the back, and people would write in and suggest corrections or stuff like that, which I think in the end he worked into it, and he included all the notes there, bibliography. But then there's an older picture of Chester without his long hair and his beard, which we seen him. but yeah, definitely one of his greatest works, I think. And
that's the guy we went to see?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And nice. And this is my copy. This is a first print. Pretty sure it's. As a matter of fact, I'm positive it's the first print, because I bought it when it first came out. Distributed by Raincoast Books, yeah. And signed and numbered limited edition hardcover. No, this is just a hardcover edition, but now it's the signed edition, and it's even signed to. He even has I. Wallace, and I brought this and a couple of other books to get him to sign. This actually is funny. This thing actually slides off. I always left it on. Got a bit torn, but I left it on anyway. But Louis, but in terms of if you like history comics, this one is really good. This I'll put it right up there with Mouse and some of the other great history graphic novels. This one is really worth reading because Riel himself was a very fascinating character, and Chester does a darn good job of telling his story. So I had to throw it in. Well, when I included the Prince Valiant, I was thinking, oh geez, I wasn't sure if we mentioned Chester being here, but it was just like I gotta say some nice words about it. So Chester Brown's Louis Riel, worth and paying for it. Check that out. Check out the movie, and I think that's it for tonight. It's raining out. I don't know if you can hear the cars going by. Let's see.
It's not fit for ducks out.
No, it isn't. I got soaked, as a matter of fact, leaving Les is coming back home here, and I actually had a Carl Barks book to read on the bus, but I fortunately, like I always do when I take books with me, I wrap them in plastic inside my knapsack.
I just joined Duolingo so I can keep my time occupied with learning a new language.
Ah, which language are you learning?
So far, still stuck on the alphabet of Hindi.
Oh, okay. I tried. I was trying Arabic, and I got pretty far in for Spanish because I did do Spanish in university, a couple of courses, but I should go back at it, see what I can learn, right? And anything? Oh yeah, I got him up there. Oh yeah, the Nobody's in Control. I put that up there for our background, and although no, he's not new, is he? No. But I do like adding more and more, and will. Now we have. Actually, we should do a giant one over Christmas, probably. We will. We'll do a giant one over Christmas, and of course the end of the year one. The end of the year one seems to be really popular, so we will do the end of the year one. Check it out, and if you're in Newfoundland, stay out of the rain. And thanks for having us over. Keep on reading. Bye. See you later.